Yeah, excitement there. Rev it up.
All right, ready?
Remember, like,
Right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Whiskey and Hammock. I'm Eric.
and I'm Chris.
And I'm Brian Herring, Eastern Region brand and barrel ambassador for RD1 Bourbon.
Yeah, this is going to be a good time, man. We're going to have fun. As you can see today, we're not really at our normal location, right? Mm-hmm. We, instead of sweating our butts off outside,
An extreme
we
heat.
have a gracious host of Corks and Barrels here in Fleming Island. So you guys make sure you come out here, check out Corks and Barrels, sit in their fantastic little bar area here, and sip some good old brown water.
Right. And so, we're sitting here with Brian, and we're going to go taste through, 4 different expressions.
Yeah, 4 different expressions today. Everything that we do starts with our small batch here at RD1. Registered Distillery One was actually founded just in 2020 from a group of local entrepreneurs from Lexington, Kentucky, in an effort to pay tribute to the very first registered distillery in Tax District Number 7, which was the Ashland Distilling Company in 1865.
That's a
I
while
totally
ago.
get
Yeah.
RD1.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
RD1.
I didn't know it until I looked it up.
I totally
Registered
get it
Distillery.
now.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So everything we do starts with our small batch. Right here, 70% corn, 21% rye, 9% malted barley. Very traditional Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Finished at 98.5 proof. One of the things that you will see throughout all 4 expressions here today is we do high proof and balanced flavors.
Okay.
And everything we do, again, starts with our small batch. This small batch mash bill is going to hold true throughout the other 3 expressions as well. So we're using that same small batch barrel to move into our secondary wood finishes. So
And then they're all the same mash bill.
they're all the same mash bill. It's actually coming from exactly the same small batch barrel.
Right. So
to
you're
start.
just finishing it differently, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Correct.
so I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
So what about, so when you say small batch,
Yep.
everyone has a different definition.
Yeah,
So
correct.
so do you have a RD1 has their own definition of small batch?
Yeah, so we were a very small company to begin with, right? So we're not producing hundreds of thousands of barrels per year. So we are a production based upon depletions,
Okay.
which means we are going to production when we sell out or run out or obviously have a forecast to get to the next level. So with that being said, we're in the range of 10 to 20 barrels per production model.
Okay.
Yep.
And so so that would be the small batch would be 10 to 20 barrels. That's
Correct.
All right.
Correct. Yep.
It's awesome because I know there's plenty of them because obviously it depends on the brand. Like you said, the bigger companies it's small batch. It's
Right.
1,000 barrels. It's not
Right.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't seem like a small batch to me.
And I think there's no clear definition of
No.
what small batch,
No, there
craft, all those things are. But we're small, we're family, we're local, so we are truly a small batch company.
Okay.
I love it.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right.
Indeed. All right. So yeah, we'll nose that up.
Yeah.
You'll get all those, like I said, all those traditional, nice and light, vanilla wafers, some nuttiness, and just really, really clean.
Yeah. And again, what proof did you say it was?
This is 98.5.
90, yeah.
98.5.
Smells
Right.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
smells clean, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, one of the things you'll get consistent, again, across the entire portfolio here is that spice. So that 20,
Oh, yeah.
that 21% rye,
Mm-hmm.
a little higher rye mash bill, right?
Right.
Is going to have that cracked peppercorn,
Oh, yeah.
that spiciness on the back, and that's just going to linger
Yeah,
all
it's
the way
tingling
through
on
the
that
back.
tongue right now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Me and Eric have always struggled with. And sometimes you get the tasting, once somebody mentions it, then you all of a sudden you're wondering if you taste something different.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the mind's easily influenced. You guys ready to move into the French oak?
Yeah. Okay. Well, what was this one finished in? The small batch.
So the small batch is just white American oak.
White American oak. So
100% traditional
Oh, so no,
small
not
batch.
finishing anything.
No secondary
Oh, okay.
finish for the small batch.
Gotcha, no.
Okay, so that's our traditional
Yeah.
entry
Okay.
into everything. And this is kind of what we've been most known for now is the secondary wood finish. All right, so our co-founder Barry Brenniger has a mantra, a motto. that he's been living by kind of in the creation of this brand is what more can wood do for Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey? So
right.
in a world of ever evolving, more brands entering the segment, the category, how do you stay unique? Or how do you become distinctive
Right.
and separate yourself from all the other brands that are out there flooding the marketplace?
Right, because I mean, since the last 10 years, like whiskey or bourbon has
Exploded.
Yeah.
It's absolutely exploded. 2014 to 2019, pre-COVID, I think that they were ramping up production 20% in total barrels and volume was the target. For bourbon, based upon current trends and demands and things like that. So just knowing that, there has to be a point of differentiation for you to connect with the consumer, the restaurateur, the retailer, so on and so forth. And that's where we came up with the secondary wood finishes. So our next entry is the French oak, where we take this wood necklace, lightly toasted French oak. It's about 10 feet long. And this is just going to get dropped right down into that aging small batch barrel.
Okay.
Everything that we have is at least 4.5 years old, by the way. At least 4.5 years old that's going into the batch process. And then once we enter the wood, depending on volume, yield, what's in the barrel, temperatures, all those kind of things will determine how long the wood stays and expresses the liquid that's inside of that. As you can see, we remain consistent in all the wood approach that we do. Everything that we do is all about surface area contact. So take a look at all of these, symmetrically milled wood chips, right, that are getting entered down into that barrel, floating around, separating, and just really, really influencing the liquid. And it's evident the minute that we put it in a bottle, because as you guys can see, you take exactly the same mash bill, exactly the same process, age the same amount of time, with the exception of the French oak, a couple more months, 3 more months or so, something like that. And what you're going to find is that nice deep amber color,
like
versus the lighter side there, and then the mouthfeel explodes, the roundness. It becomes a completely different product.
Well, and like you said, and using this method makes it almost like easier to, instead of like dumping it out into another barrel, right?
Exactly,
And
100%. Right.
And so how long average does the necklace stay in the barrel?
So I've been told it's basically 60 to 90 days. And again, being that small batch, that craft company, we've got a lot of tender loving care that goes into these barrels.
For sure, yeah, right.
We're not. We're 11 employees deep for the most part that handle everything. We're one of the few bourbon companies that actually that employs an actual doctor of wood. We have a gentleman on our staff by the name of Jared Galahue. Jared is a graduate at University of Kentucky, PhD in wood maturation. And everybody's
kidding.
like, what in the world is that?
Right? I know.
Well,
He's the master distiller.
He's a secondary master distiller.
Secondary
Yeah, so he's on research and development.
Okay.
He's in our, he operates and works out of our research and development brand destination center that just opened up. I'm going to do a little prop here for that one right there. 113 Turner Commons Lane, downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Brand new brand destination center.
Looks beautiful.
Officially on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yeah,
So we're one of
that's a
10
big deal.
distilleries in Lexington that is an official member of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which is awesome. And if you get there, you can stop by and see Dr. Jared, who's actually working in that center at all times, aging whiskeys, working with different types of wood. He's got research and development of 10, 20 different types of wood that he's using, experimenting with to see what can go well.
Did you guys get to
with
taste the
bourbon.
experiments?
Yeah, so I just got back. It was ridiculous. I mean, we're doing so many like rare and unique things. We'll do private barrels also of one-offs of private
That's cool.
private selections,
Yeah.
right? So and in the brand destination center right now, they've got 3 barrels that they're thieving from as an introduction to everybody.
Oh, nice.
That are they're going to be released probably summer to fall next year. So that's a
Okay.
teaser.
I like it.
You got to get that. You got to get down there and check them out. There's
What is-
there's
yeah.
all kinds of really cool things
What is the
that
doc-
we've done. Dr. Jared
Doctor of
Galahue. He's a doctor PhD
wood?
in wood maturation,
Maturation.
from the University of Kentucky.
Right, because of wood, like you said, imparts what, almost 50 to 65%
Yes.
of the flavor.
Of the flavor.
Right,
Absolutely.
of the flavor, right? So that's a big deal.
Huge deal. And we ran it by him first. We were like, hey, how do you feel about Dr. Wood? You know, and he's like, oh, it's appropriate. So we're going to go with it. Right, exactly.
This is different. I like this.
Yeah. I mean,
It hits different parts of, like, even smelling it made my mouth water. It's
So-
really, I like that a lot.
the development of this product, guys, I'm telling you,
Oh,
over the
wow.
last year, I've seen our French oak fandom come to real life. So when I'm out and I'm doing events, dinners, seminars, whiskey riots, and whiskeys of the world, all those things
Yeah.
where you're capturing 1,000 people, 1,500 people, giving you true impressions, right?
Right.
Not no,
Not
no
unfiltered.
blowing smoke, right?
Right.
And they're coming in with a lot of other things to choose from and experiences, and they're giving you real life information. At the end of the night, I have so many people that come back to me and go, that was one of the best whiskeys we tasted the entire time that we were here. That French oak is hitting hard. It is really developing itself.
Yeah, and what is the proof on this compared?
So that one's going to jump from 98.5 up to 101.
Now, see,
Okay?
now it's interesting because like higher proof, but that finishing
Yep.
smooths it out though.
Everybody says, right? We don't drink like we're proofed.
Right.
It is
Oh, yeah.
the subtleness that comes through. And again, we're climbing, we're above 98 all the way through. So that 98 to 101, and then again, we call it our bourbon elegance because it truly does give a velvet.
Yeah, it does. It's got a good
mouthfeel.
mouthfeel too. Yeah,
And
and
then-
it sticks around for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so in the tasting notes, because I got way more vanilla wafer on that.
big
Big time.
time, right? And again, I think that it's basically it's small batch bourbon like on steroids, right? I mean, literally now it's just getting this extra boost of influence from that oak, and it turns the softer citrus flavors that we were seeing in the small batch into like a a brighter cherry, rich dark chocolate, caramel to dark chocolate, and then again, for me, the spice kind of rounds off a little bit at
Oh,
the
yeah.
end, rather than the,
Oh, for sure.
the big boldness.
Right, like I said, because like
the
with,
other.
with just a small batch, that tingle stays. You can feel that the spiciness, like you
Correct.
said, tingle stays a lot longer.
Yep.
Like I said, with the French oak, really smooths that out.
Yeah, you still get the baking notes
Yeah.
from the rye, but they're
Tamed down. Like,
tamed down
yes.
from
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I agree 100%. So those are the first two. We
Okay.
call those the traditional entries into our Core 4 portfolio. And then where we go next is a wild adventure.
Oh.
The flavor
Okay.
wheels are going to go absolutely insane in the world of secondary finished Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
So we're going to jump into this Amburana as soon as I finish this French oak.
Yeah. I mean,
was
and that's the
wondering
thing,
how
like, because Amburana is like, what, the Brazilian oak?
It's the Brazilian wood.
Brazilian wood.
So we're Brazilian wood, contracted, brought here to the States, and then we do our own milling, and then we have this really cool and patented
Thank you.
process that we own.
Ah.
This is how we do things a little differently in the
Okay.
world of Amburana finishing. So we do this honeycomb drilling, right?
Gotcha.
So we take that Amburana wood, we honeycomb drill it. Typically, Amburanas a very porous wood.
Okay.
So it soaks in the liquid, and then what comes out of this wood is something completely unique and distinctive, and really, really, really hard to work with because it can be underdeveloped, it can be overdeveloped. It doesn't take very long for this piece of wood to influence an entire barrel.
Okay, so how long compared to that? Does that honeycomb stay?
And that is literally all up to our master distiller, secondary master
Tasting
distiller.
it
He's got
every
it
day.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's they're keeping eyes on this thing so frequent and so often because we have to be consistent. This is our number one SKU. This is over 42% of our total business
kidding.
in our bourbon category.
Wow.
I was
So
excited for this one.
Yeah, so this is the one that this is how we were launched as a brand. As an Amburana, social media blast and boom, all of a sudden everybody was like, "Hey, that's kind of the model. That's what
Oh,
we.
wow.
That's where we see Amburana where it needs to be, because there's a lot of them out there. Like I said,
Yeah.
they're a little over influenced.
Mm-hmm.
And Amburana in itself, you got lovers, you got haters, you got new introductions, all and everything kind of in the middle. But what everybody's looking for is that nice balance
Oh yeah.
of proof and flavor. And when I tell you flavor, guys, jump into this one.
Have you ever
All right.
had an Amburana? Anything, Chris?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. You know, I've had a few
Have I?
Amburana. Yes. Yes. You have. Yes. But you know, and that's like that. Like you said, you know, the tasting notes on this is way different. Like you said, it's like a flavor bomb.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Like you said, night and day. Like when you said like roller coaster ride, as soon as you said Amburana,
Yep.
I knew what he was talking about because like I
It
said, I've
smells
had
really
it before.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taste it.
Yep,
Right.
Yep. So you're
That
gonna
nose is
you're
so
gonna
different.
jump right in there, and it's gonna be apple cinnamon. It's gonna hit you right in the get. And,
Holy,
Yep.
I almost swore.
Boom. And again, like I was talking about earlier,
Wow.
this is going to take you back to a lot of different childhood memories of different flavors that you experienced as a kid. We get a lot of like, you know, cinnamon red hot.
Oh, yeah.
That comes through. Cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
It's like
that comes in.
It's like I put Apple Jacks on top of my toaster
Apple
strudel.
Jacks, toast. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. It's like what's the proof on this one?
So this is 110.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
so
feel
I
the
don't
proof.
drink like that at all.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like I can feel the proof. Now. I can
Right.
feel the jump.
Yep.
But like you said, that heat kind of like balances out that that.
It's funny because I got no heat. All I got was flavor.
I could taste the heat on that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is good.
And the amazing thing about all of the expressions, to be honest with you, is how each one truly brings on its own character, especially when we're introducing a little water or an ice cube
Oh,
or
yeah.
something like that. So this one, it has so many different flavor profiles that are going on. If you were to drink this in a over one big rock, from the entry point, first taste
Yeah.
to the last, it's almost like 3 or 4 different cocktails.
Right.
It is
I believe
absolutely
it. I
amazing.
believe it. So yeah, because each time the water, because like normally when we do reviews on our, we'll have like our processes like straight from the bottle,
Yep.
and then we'll add 1 cube, taste it then, and then like since
Full
it's Florida,
melt.
it melts so fast,
Yep.
right? And then like taste it all, and like you said, sometimes makes a big difference. Sometimes not so much.
Mhm.
But like you said, for
Sometimes
this
it
one,
ruins it.
Yeah, sometimes
We've
it
had
does.
plenty of it. We're like,
Yep.
oh God, this
Yep.
isn't as good.
Right.
Wow, I don't know. I'm interested to put ice in this, but at the same time,
Well,
I almost don't want to ruin it. Not that it would get ruined.
No,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
absolutely.
I really like this flavor profile.
well, I was wondering like how many more flavors would be brought out because taming that heat down
Yep.
would bring some more of those flavors forward.
Right. And kind of what we're doing is actually we're letting the professionals kind of develop those flavors. We're going to the best mixologists, the cocktail curators, in all the major cities, and we're going, look, here you've got a blank palette here, right here. We want you to come up with your own signature cocktail. We've
Nice.
done some things across the board. We have our signature cocktails throughout each expression, but when you get the support of people that have that uncanny ability to mix
Oh yeah.
different cocktails, ingredients, so on and so forth, they come up with some of the most creative and unique expressions. One of the things that we found really works really well here in Florida, where it's hot
Yeah,
all the time,
yeah.
are citrus-based cocktails.
Yeah.
So paper planes. This one works really nice on a paper plane. And one of the craziest cocktails that we use, and we're using it on beach sides, tiki bars, dock sides, things like that, is an Amburana colada.
Ooh, that'd be good, yeah.
A pina colada made with Brazilian Amburana finished Kentucky straight bourbon. It opens up a whole new
I
category.
Yeah.
can imagine.
It surely does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'm totally down for that. I'd try that.
I would
for
too.
sure.
Yeah. You didn't bring pina colada stuff?
Later.
Yeah, later. Like, hey, like they have to have James come back. Like,
Right.
hey,
Right.
I'm sure they got it
Exactly.
here.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
Over your Corks and Barrels, they gotta have that.
That's
mix.
easy. That's easy. So we're going to round it out with our 4th entry, and if I haven't said it before, we feel like we've got something for everybody.
Okay.
We don't have everything that we have is not for everyone, right?
Right.
We like to think that we've got this really nice entry points, and again the traditional style Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and then the last 2 entries are, like I said, it's all about flavor and being distinctive and being unique. So this is our double oak and maple barrel finished
Ooh.
at 99.9 proof. So just under 100.
Okay.
We found that that was really the sweet spot of, and I say sweet spot because syrup, maple syrup, and it has a tendency to be too sweet for a lot
Right.
of palates.
Yep.
But we needed to raise that proof so that you could offset the sweetness.
Right.
But the idea is that we everything that we source in terms of our maple finished is from Vermont. So we have a contract with a Vermont maple syrup producer, and we basically retrieve the wood that they are finished with after aging their maple syrup bourbon finished.
This is something that we
Products.
looked into.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
and it's funny because everybody has this. At least it's a secret. They're the proprietary.
Proprietary is a big word.
Proprietary. after 3 whiskeys, going on 4.
Yeah.
Proprietary staves are on this one.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Be interesting.
I'm super interested about this one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can smell that. Yeah, you can smell the maple right off.
Right,
the
right
rip.
off the rip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like those maple, chewy candies.
The maple candies.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this one we call the short stack of pancakes. Right. It's our campfire brunch. It's got a nice little smokiness to it.
It's perfect for a whiskey venture around the campfire.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
It is absolutely perfect. It makes
Wow.
one of the best smoked old fashions that you'll have. I did a really big promotional time period there, October through December last year. Everywhere I went, anything that I did, I was featuring that smoked old fashioned, and then I was doing a little food pairing with some delicious thick cut candied bacon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds super good. Or
Right,
like
yes.
a pork belly.
Pork belly. Yeah, there's creme.
Well, I mean, bacon
There's
is
a
pork belly.
maple creme brulee. There's all kinds of so many different things. Again, in the on-premise arena where people are using these types of products to work well with food pairings
yeah.
as well. So
I
Well,
could definitely see how a creme, like a mapled creme brulee would be incredible.
Well, so you
Mm-hmm.
know what, Eric? I think that next we need to get a bottle of this and try it with our smokers.
that's right.
Because we have our
100%.
own, we
Yeah.
have our own, proprietary smoker
Right. Yep.
that we smoke
Yeah.
our
Right.
smoke cocktails.
I
with,
got
so
an
it'd be
idea
great.
that you're going to be able to find a bottle very shortly of this particular offering for you to use, as long as you tell me how it worked out. How's that?
Yeah, deal. That's a deal. No, that's a no-brainer, of course.
It may sound silly, but I was worried that this one would be syrupy, even though you don't use
Right.
syrup at all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I was a little
Yep.
nervous about how it would. But it's not. It's not
It's not.
at all.
Well, it's funny because it's almost like I can see how the smoke would because it has that almost like more of a ethanol feel to it. I can see that where the smoke would totally work well and infuse
Yeah.
great with this
Yep.
with that bottle.
Yep. One of the other things that we're having some success with and around the Orlando area, where there's a high tourist population for sure, they're using it actually for maple espresso martinis.
Ooh,
So
that sounds
using
good.
basically it's a cold cocktail with that maple flavor, and
With
it just
coffee.
comes through with so chocolate and coffee
Mhm.
together mixed with the maple. Fantastic combination.
Do you know?
Fantastic.
Do you know why they stopped at 99.9 and just didn't give that extra boost?
I don't. I don't. I wish I did. I've asked, and again, there's there's
Secret, proprietary.
everything's proprietary. It's all
information.
secret.
Because you know what? Because that 0.1%
Might have made a
just
big
ruined
difference.
It ruined
Right.
it.
It
Mine-
could have been, but it also probably was because it would make you ask the question. How was
Right.
that?
Right. Well,
Because
there
if
you
we
go.
were just simply 100 proof, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's
Okay,
just 100 proof. Right.
But
Yeah,
not 99.9.
99.9.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why is
Why
that
is
1%?
that? Yeah,
that
dive in.
0.1% not there?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, thanks so much for having me here today. I hope you guys enjoyed the
Yeah, we totally did. Like I said,
the portfolio.
Like I said, it was great because we met you at the Whiskey Riot.
Right.
Went there.
Shout out.
Man, yeah, had a great time.
Yep.
And hit you up and you're like, hey, coming through, Jacksonville.
That's it.
I was like, yeah, right, stop in. Let's do this. And the great thing is, I think I only got to taste just the one. So I got being able to taste all 4 is definitely a big difference.
It's a great way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
literally
sure.
to run the gamut.
Yes.
Again, this is one of the funnest parts about my job, when you can take a base product like this that's as good as this one is, and then allow for everybody to see exactly how different types of wood influence, express, and finish into completely different flavor profiles.
Right. No, and like I said, yeah, and that's a great part. And like said, and because everything starts with that straight bourbon whiskey. And like straight bourbon whiskey, like you said, it's aged 4 years. But in order to be straight, because like bourbon, is there there's no age statement on it.
Right.
But straight bourbon,
Right.
it's minimum of 2 years.
Correct.
But you guys like bump it up 2 more years. So
Right.
you got that 4 year.
That's right.
And like just starting with this base, so like you said, it's great. Just find out where you started from, and then how you see how those finishing staves make a
Yeah.
big difference. It's like you said, it's huge. Like in both these, like you said, if you see that
Yep.
that color, big difference.
Yeah, there's a very different flavor profile on all of them, but just from that to that, by adding this
Yes.
Yeah.
was amazing.
The
Amazing.
whiskey necklace.
Yeah, the whiskey necklace. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Brian, I appreciate you coming
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man.
It was awesome.
Sure was. Appreciate
And
it.
again, I wanted to do this, but I didn't want to T-Rex you. You know what I mean? Like, where you're like, but huge thanks for you to coming out.
Yeah.
For
Yes.
you for
Thanks
coming
for having
out.
me.
Gigantic thanks for Corks and Barrels.
Yep.
Again, in Fleming Island. Please come out and support them. This is a great place to come and hang out and
Have a
chill.
cocktail.
Yeah.
Have some whiskey.
Mhm.
Yes.
Everything around one.
One.
Yes.
It's always
yes. Well,
the
right, because
first.
being the first.
It's
like,
being the
yes,
first,
RD1,
and then
of
pushing
course.
the boundaries.
Yes.
Being the first, and then to evolve
Yeah.
outside of one.
RD1.
That's all.
RD1.
That's what we're
all right.
all about.
So
Cheers.
I'll leave it the motto. May the wind always fill your hammock. May your glass never go dry.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
That was good, man. You did a good job.
Is that good?
Yeah,
no,
perfect.
that's awesome.
It was awesome.